Hey Keith, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate you taking some time. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. All right, so let's just jump right in. So I know you had a session with me earlier, and I wanted to just get your experience about what it's like in a coaching call with me. First of all, had you ever had a coaching call like that before?
I have not. It was great. I feel more relieved after the phone call. It really put things into perspective for me. And
Mhm.
I really do thank you.
Okay. Well, let's go into it a little bit. So you can talk about as much or as little as you want in terms of your actual details of yourself and your job. But to the degree that you want to kind of share your situation, kind of what was your situation and your mindset coming into the call?
Well, my situation is that I have worked in healthcare for a couple of years now, and I've pretty much had a few jobs within those couple of years. And I was a little bit nervous about like looking for other jobs, looking for other opportunities. Then I realized that there's no problem with that through our conversation. It was just being raised by, I guess, baby boomers saying never quit, stick with it, stay with it, no matter what. And then on the other end, being a millennial, like, yo, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Sometimes you have to revamp. And I think the revamping aspect came more out of then it's okay to let go if I have to. So,
Yeah, and yeah, that's right. Okay. And we had talked about like these two competing rules, right? That you had in your head. You just named those two and how they competed. And when we went through it, we did an exercise about finding the evidence, right? Which one is serving you more? And you decided that in this space, what was probably going to serve you more is to kind of figure out what things would look like to move on. What was it like doing that exercise? Because if you remember, I think we did an exercise of listing three things on each side of the equation. So what was that like for you?
well, it was like piecing together, I guess, some building blocks, like just building up to the right answer for me.
Hmm.
Uh, it was sort of it was sort of difficult because like you don't want to seem like you're a quitter, but sticking with things that are not working for you can either ruin you mentally, emotionally, or physically. And it was doing that in my previous uh, uh, job opportunities, and I had to learn like you know what, I shouldn't feel guilty about saying just let go, like go somewhere or research something that will not do that to you or do that to me. Uh, it was just, it's one of the things you just have to look at and be like, hey, I'm growing. This is not working for me. This is going to hinder me more than help me.
Hmm.
Let it go if it's not working. Like, we are not our parents who stuck, with a job for 35 years. And at some point, there was an upswing, maybe in the last 15 years before they retire or the last 5 years. But no, we're not those people. We're not the same.
Right. And normally when I end a session with any of my curators, which is what I call my clients, I, make sure that they walk away with some kind of homework, some kind of action items or to-dos. So what were the action items or to-dos that you walked away with from the session?
Well, my to-do list is actually like, again, like look back at what has happened to me. Look at my experiences. See what my boundaries are, what my yes and no's are. Be strong, be firm in them. Do some research for myself. Go ahead, look out there, see what's on, like you said, Beyonce's internet, and see what's for me. Like, okay, is this working for me? Does this sound good for me? All right. Be willing to like cut ties if I have to cut ties.
Yeah.
And but not saying like, just be out there in the wind, but you had to really look at your situation, had to look at my situation and see, okay, can I do that now? What is my next move? Am I ready? Even if I'm not ready, okay, what's making me not ready? What's in my mind? What's going on? And just
Yeah.
that's my hope. And that's why I'm looking forward to doing tonight and the next few nights, like, or however long it's going to take me, like, set a benchmark to a time, like, okay, I'm going to handle it now. What it's going to look like. These are my steps. And
Yeah.
continue to get your help, like, because you were, again, awesome.
Awesome. Well, good. And I think there was one other thing, just gonna remind you, because you talked about reaching out to a couple people that
Right.
you might have worked with in the past to kind of figure out what might be possible there. Is that something you're still thinking about doing?
Well, yes, I am really I'm willing to do that. There's a couple other jobs in my past that, I said like, you know what? I love this job. But it was just one little thing that had tilted the scales to me like, you know what? This may not be for me for right now.
Right.
And once I ask a few questions like what's going on there, again, make my boundaries known, say, hey, this, what, like if it hasn't changed, then okay, I can walk away from this. If it has changed, I could think about some things and then see how that may affect me. Again, think, just don't say yes to anything like I have been doing. but, but just, think about it, weigh it out, and see if it works for me.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the things that is definitely something that all my curators, when they first work with me, they realize there's a lot that they don't think about. Even when they get happy that they got an offer, they got this job, they get into the job, and then they have what we call the winner's curse. And they're like, oh crap, I didn't even think about all these other things. And now that they're facing me in real life, now I'm like, crap. Right. So that certainly comes up quite a bit. When you think about somebody out there in the world who's considering having a career coach or a career coaching session, what might you tell them ahead of the session? What might they need to think about or do, or what would you tell them about, potentially being on a call with me?
Be ready for honesty. Be it gentle or brutal, just be ready for the honesty. Be ready to tell the whole complete story of what's going on with you. Understand, like, okay, so give a chronological order of like what has happened, what you experienced, what you learned, what you hoping to learn. Um, be willing to say, I want to gain this. I During our session, I realized I did not have a focus anymore on what I wanted to obtain. And now that's also one of the goals I have to go research, well, for tonight and into the future. What do I want for me? Because I want to grow. I want to have a career, not just a job, but a career. I want to have a career that does not affect, my other hobbies in my life, or when I want to take vacations, or if I so choose to have like a weekend off. I want to live and thrive. And so this session has made me realize like, yo, I need to have a end goal. I need to have a focus on where I want to see myself in the future. Not just
Awesome.
I love work. I want a paycheck. That's not how you should live.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm so glad that we got to spend that time together. It's funny because in a way, the way it started, it wasn't really expected, and then we kind of went into it, and then we just did a full session, and then I was like, okay, let's really go there and do that. So we did it. I'm glad that you got a chance to experience it. Thank you so much for spending some time in the aftermath of it, sharing your experience with everyone else, and I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to actually look within myself and reflect. Like, thank you. Um, I suggest that everybody and anybody should come to you to have this moment of breakthrough, this moment of self reflection. Just be honest with yourself. Like, hey, I want to grow my career. How can I do that? And you want
Awesome.
to be able to assist. You're like a Sherpa.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Keith. I'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
later.